What's going on, everyone? We are back for another episode of Just My Opinion. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. If you're subscribed to my channel or if this is your first time here, you probably noticed, man, this Just My Opinion Reviews channel, I got a lot of videos uploaded on this same day talking about all of these Oscar nominated films. And I'm excited to talk about this one, man. I really am. We are talking Avatar, The Way of Water. Also, as you can see, I'm not by my lonesome. I got my boy right here, the stock market master genius, Mr. Lamont Tyson with Life Gains. Sir, how are you doing today? How are you doing?
Man, I'm happy you've invited me to be here. It's always an honor and a privilege to be on your channel. And we're talking a movie that is in the best picture category, Avatar. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Of course, guys, this is Lamont Tyson with Get a Life Gains. And if you love what both of us has to say about this review, you can follow both of us on social media. Our handles are on the screen. Also, Lamont's information is in the description box of this video. And like always, he is right there on my channel tab, smack top row in the middle. This is what his channel looks like. Look at that swole back right there. Look like he
Oh
can
my
take on the
God.
Navi himself. Ugh, you know what I'm saying? Nice. Trying to be like you, my brother. So, yeah, man, help this man get to 150,000 subscribers. He has been doing this for a long time, and you can get nothing but great content over here. Also, want to let you know, guys, this is going to be a full-on spoilers review. We're going to spoil this movie up, down, left, right, in, and out, as if you've already seen it. You have been warned, and pretty much everybody has seen this film because we're going to get into the box office as well on how great it is doing, theatrically worldwide. So pretty much everybody has seen it, and I mean, this is not the only time I've talked about. I've had a ton of Avatar coverage on my channel. I got my fresh out of theater reaction. I have my non-spoiler review if you want to go check that out. Also did a spoilers review with my boy Nagier with Big Gold Belt Media. All that is on my channel right here as well. And so make sure you subscribe and check all of that out if you want every little nugget that I had to say about this movie. And also, guys, if you want an audio only version of this recap, this recording, this review, there's a link to it in the description box with buzzsprout.com. I am on all these platforms that you see right here: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. You can see the screen, and also SoundCloud as well. Again, so make sure you check all of that out if you want an audio only version. But like I said, man, I'll go ahead and just say this off the top. I am a big, huge Avatar fan. And man, Lamont, I forgot to bring my prop. I got like 37 versions downstairs of my Blu-ray and 4K. Well, Avatar's not released on 4K yet, the original, but I do have two versions, downstairs. I forgot to bring up my props, but that's okay. But I love this film. There's a lot of Avatar haters out there. I mean, but people still saw the film because it's killing at the box office. But I loved it when the original came out in 2009. I was clamoring about it, salivating at the mouth, telling everybody, you got to go see this film. I was one of the people that went to go see it opening weekend. Originally, it made $2.7 billion worldwide. But then when it's the re-release last year, $2.9 billion, man. $2.9 billion worldwide. That's just freaking crazy. Look at it right there. Almost $3 billion. You know what I'm saying? And everybody pretty much loved it on Rotten Tomatoes as well. But I loved it, man. And this sequel came out 13 years later. It was 13 years in development because they announced the sequels like right after the first one did well. And I don't blame them. If you want to gross $2.9 billion worldwide, at that time it was with 20th Century Fox, now 20th Century Studios, now Disney owns it all. But now we're back for part 2, Avatar: The Way of Water. And I remember there was just so much speculation online about, hey, is it still going to make as much money? Is it still going to be as good? It's 13 years in the future. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody gives a crap. But I would say that, some people do give a crap. You know what I'm saying? It's doing well on Rotten Tomatoes. It dropped a little bit it went from 82 to 76%. And while the first one is at 2.9 with the re-release, this one right here is at 2.2. And so we're going to talk about that a little later. But I do want to just say right now, man, I love the sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water. I thought it was phenomenal. I loved it from head to toe. Could I nitpick it if I wanted to? Of course, like you can do all films, but I actually enjoyed it more than the first film. And I can't wait to see how you feel about it, Lamont, because you saw the first film when it originally came out around in 09, 2010, correct?
Yep, I sure did.
Now, and the only reason you saw this sequel, and I know you're just a busy man, family man over there, got a ton of things on your plate. You just saw this sequel, like, because we're in March now, of course, when we're filming this, and it came out December of 22. When did you see this film? Like, how recent from this recording did you see this sequel, The Way of Water?
Yesterday.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you subscribe to my channel, y'all know how I felt about it, and I'm excited about it right now. But I'm gonna give the mic to you for a second, man. Like, what did you think about this? But first, before you thought, what was your expectations going? Oh, and I'm tripping. I almost left something out that's pretty important. Of course, this is being nominated for the Oscar, but which nominees, which categories in particular? We have best visual effects, best production design, also best sound, and also best picture. And so, of course, we're going to talk about it towards the end of this if we think it deserves all that. But going into this this sequel, like, what was your expectations? And just let the good people out there know, man, what was your in general impressions for The Way of Water?
I didn't have a lot of expectations because I avoided the reviews except for B. Avery. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, B. Avery's review was slightly biased because I know he's such a big fan. But at the same time, he's one of the very few people whose reviews I trust blindly. We hardly disagree on anything. So if I'm going to say I had an expectation, I expected it to be a good movie because B. Avery said it was good. However, I'm kind of like a lukewarm fan of the series. And when the first one came out, I really wasn't a movie buff, so to speak. I didn't understand all the technical things that was going on in the movie. Fast forward into now, 13 years later, I do understand those things better. And the first thing that struck me, B. Avery, was this has got to be the greatest visual display to ever be put in a movie. And I can only imagine I missed a damn treat because I can only imagine what you guys got to see in 3D, IMAX, and all that with the sound, being immersed in Pandora and the ocean. But I felt like the visuals were amazing. Outfits was amazing. I did enjoy the score somewhat. I felt like they left some meat on the bone in terms of the story. It kind of felt like they really did this story in a way that we're going to do an Avatar 3. And I felt like one or two characters I would have liked to see more of. If you're someone who loves action, they gave it to you. If you're someone who loves beautiful worlds that you've never been to and you want to see the visuals, it gave you everything you wanted. It was a little long for my taste, but considering everything they tried to flesh out, it had to be long. And so, as B. Avery said, if I'm washing clothes and drying them, those are my nitpicks that I picked out the dryer for this movie. But overall, I enjoyed it.
Okay. I like that. Is this something that you would see again? We'll want to see again?
Yes, I'll definitely watch it again for sure.
Okay. I got you, man. I got you. Yeah, man. What was one of those characters that you're talking about saying that you wish they would have seen more of? Because I was in love with Natiri in the first film, and that's really one of my only nitpicks about this sequel is that we did not get much of her. I wanted to see a little bit more of her than we got in this sequel. But I mean, she was really prominent, towards the end of the film. I mean, she killed it towards the end, when she wanted revenge for her son. But I mean, do you share those sentiments, or who was the character that you wanted to see more, or characters?
I would agree with you on Natiri. I mean, we could hear her voice, we could hear grunting and all that until she got enraged by someone who died, and I'm sure we're going to get there. I would have loved to gotten more about Spider and his relationship with his dad. That's what I've loved to have gotten.
Yeah, man. He was a cool character. Oh, there's a little one right there. Yeah, he's a cool character. I liked him. Well, initially I was just kind of frustrated because we did not I mean, of course we know who we know who the father was. It was, you know, Korik or whatever, but we really didn't know who the mother was. That was something I was trying to, you know, find out and research, but I had to kind of dig deep to find out who his mother was, and that really bothered me. But I'm not going to make a big deal about it. I kind of found out that it was, I forgot the name, but it was one of the characters that died in the first film. She was in one of the Scorpion planes. I kind of wish they would have fleshed that out. But I mean, that's not a big deal. That's just like a little nitpick. I do like how he was able to adapt with the Navi. You know, he did seem like part of the family. That was pretty cool. I loved all that. I love the design, and you know, he was just, you know, I mean, it was a cool character. I was really frustrated with him from the fact that he wanted to save the bad guy towards the end, and that really was not his father. You know, that was kind of like, you know, a ghost in the shell type thing. You know, and that's gonna come back and, you know, haunt the group later on. But yeah, Spider was cool. So that's just kind of someone you wanted to see more of.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. You know, these people were basically clones, and that daddy was a clone, and he saved this dude, and we were supposed to be convinced because Nateri had an opportunity to kill Spider and didn't because the dad erupted and said, "No, don't do it. Whatever." You saw how it went down, and that was enough for us to believe that Spider wanted to save his dad at the end. And then on top of that, B. Avery, is it even clear that the Navi know that Cure is still alive? Is that even clear, or is that like a projection for the next series? I mean, the next movie.
Well, yeah, it's clear because they fought him. You know, Jake fought him at the end, and so, well, no, they don't know because no, you're right. I'm tripping because, you know, he supposedly drowned, so they don't know.
Right,
So
right.
you're right. My
And
bad on that. They don't know. They
and
don't know.
Spider yanked his butt up out of there.
Yeah. I'm pretty upset about that, you know, but we're gonna see how that's gonna circle back around in part 3. They have the scripts written already for part 3, part 4, and part
What?
5. Oh
Whoa,
yeah, oh yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
whoa, whoa,
Come on,
whoa.
man. Yeah, yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
wait. Did you just drop the news on us that this movie that's nominated for several Oscars, they've already got scripts written for 3, 4, and 5?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You late to the party with that one right there, sir. I thought you knew. Yeah,
Well,
man.
look,
When they was developing this right here, he had about 3 or 4 additional writers that helped him out with this, and he said they
okay,
storyboarded all 4. You know, not the first one because that was already done in 2009, but they storyboarded part 2, 3, 4, and 5 all the way together. And he was
okay.
going to, you know, James Cameron put his foot down on all of them, of course, you know, because he's the creator, you know, of this whole thing. But he didn't. They storyboarded all 2, 3, 4, and 5 out, but he went over every scene. It was a lengthy process, almost took about, I think, like 17, 18 months, almost 2 years. And he didn't want to, like, so it was going to be James Cameron in person A for part 2, James Cameron in person B for part 3, James Cameron and person C for part 4, therefore on and so forth. But he did not want to tell them which individual script they would be working on until they completely storyboarded the whole thing out, because he knew that once he would assign a sequel to one of them, that when they was talking about another film, that they would kind of mentally clock out and not put that much, you know, energy into the sequels that they wouldn't attach to. And so he waited until they went through the whole thing, just storyboarded the whole thing out, and they're like, okay, you're going to work on part 2 with me. You're going to work on part 3 with me. You're going to work on part 4. You're going to work on part 5 with me to fill in the rest of the details. And so I think that's the best approach. He kind of approached this like Peter Jackson did with the Lord of the Rings, you know, way back in the early 2000s. And I think that's going to be for his benefit, man. And I can't wait. He even has, you know, I think he said in an interview that he has ideas for a part 6 and 7. You know, scripts aren't complete, but he has ideas for 6 and 7. And so that's very, very exciting. And also, of course, 2 is done. It's in theaters right now. But the whole, well, not the whole thing, but 95% of part 3 is already shot. And then the first sequence for part 4 has been shot too. And so, you know, if things work out the way they're supposed to, you know, we're going to be getting a sequel. You know, part 3 is going to come out December of next year. But I don't know. I can imagine that there's going to be a lot of, you know, post-production that's going to go into that. So it may be delayed, but I'm not sure. We're gonna see, but I'm rooting for James Cameron. I really am rooting for him. So I don't know. You seem sounding kind of surprised by that, man. I thought you knew, to be honest with you.
No, I didn't. I knew he went and got some good writers, 2 very talented writers to work with him. And I knew that this was his 9th movie he's directed. Just James Cameron, it's hard to believe he's only directed 9 movies. He's been on a lot of stuff, but this was only his 9th movie he directed.
Yeah.
And I understood that a part 3 was coming, but not that they've gotten this far along and they've filmed some of it. But I guess when you really think about it, if every time you put your artwork on stage for us to see, it's going to make $1 billion, why would you not have 10 scripts ready? Why would you not be done fleshed out a story for 10? Because he is an instant billion. Yeah. Whenever this movie comes out, it's an instant billion worldwide. He does like the best job of making things visually attractive. I mean, just the best job. No one is even near him. No one. And so it's not hard to believe that that's going to happen. But considering you like this movie, how did you feel about and I hope I'm not butchering the whale's name, Piakon, the whale, and the story that they associated with the whale?
Yeah, man, I loved it. I love the fact that he got his revenge at the end, and popped trunk on the ship, and went ham on everybody. That was wonderful, but it made me upset. It made me angry. I grew an attachment to this whale just through the Na'vi and how they related to him, and you have these humans that just rob and steal and take everything. Yes. Reminds me of white supremacists down here, even though there was some people of color that was flying the boat and shooting the harpoons, but of course there can be people of color that adapt to that ideology, that evil ideology. But I was upset, man. It hurt my heart, but James Cameron is still able to craft a good film together. The whale was some of them were protected, had that thick ass skin. So it was nice seeing some of those scenes where it would bounce off and hit the humans. I also like the fact that there was one of them that took the steel cable, and just from them, him trying to escape in the water, ripped off old dude's arm. I didn't expect this film to be that bloody, to have that amount of carnage and violence. And so that was really fascinating to me too. I really did like that as well, and so I like that as well. And talking about a whale. But yeah, man, that was a highlight to me. My only criticism there is you have this gigantic whale and they went inside of it and drilled out that yellow ooze for resources. So I think it was like the Fountain of Youth, and like that little jar or container, I think it was worth like maybe 70, 80, 90 million dollars. That didn't seem like a lot, man. It seemed like that's kind of pennies. When you're going space exploration across the galaxy, that don't really seem like a lot, but that's a small little nitpick right there. But I'm not really tripping on that, so go ahead.
I actually enjoyed, well, I didn't enjoy it because I didn't like that you had to mine the fluid from the whale's brain to get this Fountain of Youth juice to the dying humans back on Earth. I thought the concept that James Cameron put in there in terms of these whales have this life-altering, I thought that was good, but I just didn't like the way that they was in there trying to take it to bring it back. And like you said, you're having to go through warp drives and wormholes to get back to Earth, and this stuff is worth $90 million small vat. I'm with you on that nitpick, but I thought the concept that these whales had that type of life-giving fluid, I thought that was cool.
I got you, man. How did you feel about the children? I liked them, but how'd you feel about them? They were frustrating, but they're kids, they're teenagers, which of course kids and things like that do things that rub you the wrong way and all that stuff. But how did you feel about their relationship, seeing Jake, Sully, and Neytiri as parents now? Just not just parents, but kind of generals and leaders of their little army. How'd you feel about all that?
I think it really changed Jake, because last movie, Jake was just, wild-eyed Southern boy trying to do whatever he can to be down with the Na'vi. And in this movie, he was more of a grounded parent, really trying to set a benchmark for his kids. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the kids wind up having to be the ones that help save the adults. And so I enjoyed the the back and forth with the kids, because I'm kind of in that situation right now with a young child. And anytime they put these stories where you've got a parent trying to be a good parent, and it might not seem like the kids are listening to it, eventually the kids do an action that show that we are good kids. You raised us well. And you kind of saw that with these kids in this movie. So I enjoyed the kids. I hated seeing the oldest one die. And that was the catalyst for Natiri to just go the hell off. And that was touching. And so I enjoyed that dynamic, B. Avery. That captivated me throughout the whole movie.
Let me ask you this, man. And I asked a few people that I saw this with. Do you think towards the end that Natiri was really, really ready to kill Spider? Because she did have a bias against him. You know, towards the very beginning of the film, I remember she was like, hey, man, this little white boy over here, he don't need to belong with us. He ain't one of us. He just pop up every day. You know what I'm saying? Right. He need to get out of here. And of course, she was in, you know, a blood rage towards the end, which I don't blame her. You know, her baby died. Right. And she threatened, she was like, hey, if you don't let my people go, I'm going to kill your boy or your clone, Ghost in the Shell boy. Do you think that she was really ready to kill him, or do you think she was bluffing?
She was going to kill him.
Woo!
She was gonna kill him. I ain't even gotta hesitate, B. That ass was grass. She was gonna kill him. She look, like you said, she was enraged by that moment. And there had always been a back and forth battle with her and Curie. So I don't think she was gonna, and she even kind of cut him a little bit. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So that tells me she was gonna do him. What did you think?
I'm on the fence, man. Some days I think that she would kill him. Some days I'm thinking that she was just bluffing. You know, I wouldn't be mad if she did kill him or whatever. But
what got you thinking she was bluffing more than that she was going to do him?
I don't know. I guess I just want to have. He didn't do anything. I mean, he didn't do anything to deserve it. If my memory serves me correctly, because I haven't seen it recently. I saw it a couple of times when it first came out. And so I don't know. That would just be real cold-blooded of her, you know? And I also wonder if that's going to come back and bite her or the family in the ass, you know, because Spider may not feel connected to the family anymore. Because they really did. He may not feel that they went to go look for him after he was kidnapped. Like, man, I was gone for X amount of days. Y'all just left me with the crazy people and didn't come search for me. You know, but I got a bond with this dude right here. You know, he's technically not my daddy. He's a memory in a clone body. But that may come back to bite them in the future. And I'm kind of worried about that, and kind of gets me excited, you know, for the future as well. So we're just gonna have to see.
See what I'm saying? Spider was intriguing to me. Like, his character was very intriguing. Now, him being a white dude with them ugly ass dreads, I can't get over that. But the character was that look fit the way he was behaving in this movie. So I get it. And everything surrounding him for the next movie, man, I think it's going to be big time. And I want to get in on this conversation with you guys the first time, because this, like I said, visually, I've not seen anything that is comparable to this movie. So I'm glad you got me up on my horse to watch this action. And how do you feel about the back and forth between Naturi and Curie, Stephen Lang's character? How do you feel about that? Because remember, she's the one that killed him from the first movie, if you recall. Yeah. And, you know, he didn't understand how he died in this movie. He was the blue Curie in this movie. But he started recognizing what was going on, and it was kind of a tug of war between those two. And it kind of culminated with the sun scene.
I thought it was one of the best revelations of the film. I like when he came up on the battle scene from the first film and saw his skull in the machine. That was just really interesting to me, because
it was crazy.
Towards the beginning of the film, when he was looking at the pre-recording, like, okay, hey, you're not going to remember you dying because you haven't died yet, and you're not going to die. So he didn't have that memory. And so for him to see his dead body there, I thought was real fascinating. I really do appreciate James for putting that into the film. But before we head out of here, man, like, do you have any other criticisms about it, or you just, you know, loved it that much?
I enjoyed it. I just wish it was a little shorter. I felt like there was just the one or two nitpicks I talked about when filling in the story. That was the only thing I had. But because the story wasn't bad by no means. And because all the accoutrements surrounding the story was so good, I would rate it high.
Already, man. Already. Film was $250 million budget. And I'm still kind of confused on that because I think the first one was 350. But I'm still kind of confused on that because they filmed this one and 3 together in part 4. So I don't know how that was, divided up. But I love box office. 2.9 on the first one, 2.2 for part 2 of The Way of Water, which we're speaking of right now. As far as not the worldwide, but domestic, it is at number 9 right now. $671 million. Titanic, which is re-released right now as well, there's a little over like $3 million more. I wonder if all of this Oscar-nominated buzz will give it a boost at the box office. I surely hope so, because I just want these movies to break records continuously and just make money. I just find box office fascinating. And if we look at the worldwide gross of all time, it is sitting right there at number 3. The only other films that are beating it is the original Avatar and Avengers Endgame. It's not going to reach those, but hey, maybe part 3, 4, and 5 will. If you had to rate this film out of a 1 out of 10 or whatever your rating system is, what would that be?
Oh, this one gets a solid 8.5 for me. Solid. And that's even with the nitpicks I had because, like I said, it is so visually stunning, just amazing to watch, and the story was good enough to support everything they done with the casting, the music, and the actors. It definitely gets an 8.5 for me, 100%.
Right on. Right here on my website, I gave it an 8.5 as well. And so, yeah, man, I really did enjoy this film. I cannot wait till we can get a copy of it on digital. They released that recently. This is an article from Variety. I think it will be released digitally on March 28th. That's a couple of weeks from now. We're filming this a few days before the Oscars. And so, yeah, man, everybody has seen this film for the most part, but there's a few, well, not everybody, there's a few people out there that hasn't seen it. So check it out. If it's still in theaters in your area, check it out. You will enjoy it. Also, check out my non-spoiler review if you want my original thoughts. Also, my spoilers review that I did with brother Nagier with Big Gold Belt Media. And also just some more shameless plug-in, Creed 3 review, Cocaine Bear review, and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Mania spoilers review part 1. Lamont, is there anything you want to promote to all the good people out there?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can come watch. I'm a little bit bigger in the TV review space than I am the movie. I'm trying to grow that part. But Power Book 2 Go Season 3 is going to start next Friday, so I'll be doing that. I'm also doing Godfather Harlem. I'm doing Snowfall, and actually B. Avery came and surprised us because we do a live watch party during Snowfall on Wednesday night. But come check those out. I'm doing a lot of trailer breakdowns for the TV shows and Your Honor, and we've got BMF about to conclude. And so you can come and see all that good stuff on my channel. Love to have you. Love to hear your comments, and would love to catch you guys on my live stream at some point in time.
Right on. And of course, if you did not know, if you want to subscribe to my channel, this is your first time here, I'm covering as many other Oscar-nominated films as possible. I got 3 uploaded right there, but I think, Lamont, this one we're recording makes number 12. I just got to do the thumbnails. Wow. But I got movie reviews, spoiler movie reviews, series reviews, a weekly movie news roundup show, Barrel Air Season 2, Snowfall Season 6, trailer reactions, interviews, and some fresh out-of-theater reactions as well. My movie news roundup show is usually Sundays, 6 p.m. CST, but I won't be going live with my show on the Sundays of the Oscars because it's the Oscars. So I will be going live on Monday, March the 13th, the next day, 6 p.m. CST. We want to talk about all these Oscar-nominated films, Best Picture, Best Animated, Best, lead actor, all that good stuff. So come and kick it with your boy. But guys, again, go ahead.
Before you get out of here, let me ask you something. What do you feel like Avatar should win this year in the Oscar season? What do you think they should win Best Picture? Do you think they should win Best Visual? What do you personally think, as a professional that reviews movies, what should Avatar take home?
This right here.
Definitely.
At least best visual effects and best production design. Best Picture, I wouldn't give it that, but I wouldn't get upset I mean, no, I mean, I don't care, but you know,
Okay.
I'm not gonna throw a fit, but I'll just say best visual effects and best production design. You know, that was that wouldn't be a surprise to me. So but yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Come back, check out all of our Oscar nominated films that I've did on my channel. And before you go, don't forget that I'm B. Avery, that's Lamont, and that's just our opinion. Peace out, and we'll see you next time.